And a good Wednesday evening from the Varsity Aces. I'm Greg Tartaglia for NorthJersey.com. Welcome to another edition of Varsity Aces Live, this for Wednesday, the 24th day of March, 2021. Tonight is a volleyball show. Wouldn't normally say that in March. In fact, maybe a long time ago, parts of the state used to play in the springtime. North Jersey has always played volleyball in the fall for girls volleyball. Boys are in the spring. But the girls are now playing in the spring. So we're going to talk a little bit about, what changes have had to be made, how the calendars may be changed, and there's some season overlaps too. So all this and more we'll get to talk with. We have a Passaic County team with us. We have a Bergen County team represented with us. So from Lakeland, we'll bring in Coach Brian Phillips, who just happens to coach the boys and girls volleyball there, and he just finished with girls basketball. And senior Katie Bennorth, who's been juggling a little bit of volleyball and track. And after that, we'll move on to Tenafly. Tenafly senior Zuzanna Buchnajzer will join us, and she has a very interesting story and is having a very good season as well. So first, welcome to everybody. We will start off with Lakeland, though. So, Susie, we'll see you in a little bit. Look forward to talking with you. And we'll start in Lakeland, in Ringwood, to be more accurate. I'm in Wanacue, but I believe both of you are in Ringwood. And Coach Phillips, what's this transition like been to where all of a sudden girls volleyball is kind of thrown in? You're used to going from girls basketball to boys volleyball. Now you kind of got the girls volleyball shoehorned in there. What's this spring been like for you?
Been a little hectic, especially, once girls volleyball started. It was long days, that's for sure. Going from one to the other, going from a basketball game to a girls volleyball game. Probably the hardest thing was having enough energy, I guess, to make sure I don't shortchange either team. It's been challenging, but it's also been fun. And the girls have been very understanding from both teams, knowing kind of my crazy schedule. So, usually we practice right after school for volleyball. One night we had practice from 8 to 10 o'clock at night. So obviously something different, but I think the kids are just happy to be there. And, they adjusted it and they're enjoying it as much as they can.
And when we first found out about the changing of the seasons way back at the beginning of the school year, I talked to a bunch of coaches. One coach said, I don't care. I'll sleep on a cot at the high school. We're just grateful to have a season. Now that we're here and in it, I'm sure it's crazy, but I would have to think the same sentiment still applies, no?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's kind of the way. I've been joking with people that I'm there from, 6 a.m. till whenever. I might as well just sleep there. But it's good just to have a season, seeing the girls together. You can definitely see that their spirits are lifted by just being able to play, be together with each other, interact, have all that, camaraderie with each other. I think that's the important part. We haven't even had a game. We were supposed to have a game today. It was supposed to be opening day after being shut down earlier from our school. We were supposed to play today. Unfortunately, the team we were supposed to play wasn't able to play us. So we still haven't even had a game yet, but I think the kids are just really enjoying being together and being on the court and having that time together.
I would love to get the players' perspective. So we bring in Katie Bennorth, who's also, like we said, juggling a couple other sports, but just starting with volleyball, you've got the change of the season. Obviously, COVID's always a factor, and Lakeland was shut down it was the first week of volleyball season. They're open again, but again, you never know what's going on with the opponents. Players in the matches that I've seen have been required to wear masks. How are you and your teammates, kind of taking all this in stride, and what is the talk been about in the preseason about, how are we going to get through this volleyball season and, make it a good one?
Well, safety is our number one concern. And so, if we do, I should say we're expected to, or our team expects to shut down every so often. That's just been the pattern with school and other sports. So we were hoping and praying that we weren't. And it also sucked because unfortunately when we did, it was right at the end of my winter track season. So I had the start of my volleyball season and the end of my winter track season interrupted. But we all wear masks. We all social distance. We just abide by the CDC guidelines as we should. We want to keep playing as long as we can. So we take that very seriously. And I mean, as Brian said, we're very thankful for just being on the court. We're very eager to play our next game tomorrow. It should be really fun. It's our first home game, so that's exciting. And I mean, as a senior, I'm just very, very happy I get to have a season. I know before school started, it was kind of up in the air. And yeah, I mean, we were just taking it day by day. I say we got let know today at like 2:00 that our game was canceled. So it's kind of a day by day thing, but I'm just hoping, every morning I wake up, I'm hoping that everything just goes to plan.
So who's on the schedule for home opener tomorrow?
Fairlawn.
Fairlawn, okay, and that's Fairlawn and Lakeland. I've seen a lot of boys volleyball matches between them, and obviously the girls are also very good in that in both schools as well for girls volleyball. Now, the overlap of the season, Katie, you touched on it a little bit. What has that transition been like for you? You told me you play club volleyball, you do winter and spring track. Normally it flows kind of smoothly. What's the flow been like this school year?
Honestly, I've definitely been more exhausted. Sometimes I think back and I'm like, how did I do it all? Which is weird because I'm so young. But it's definitely been hard because I'd have school from about 7:30 to 12:10, and I have 2 hours to do homework. I'd go to track from 2:30 to 4, and then I'd go to volleyball from 4 to 6. And on the weekends, I work as well. So that night, I'd go straight from track to volleyball to work until like 10 o'clock at night. It's definitely been hard. Time management. I mean, I've learned time management throughout my high school years. And so that's really coming in handy right now, just getting as much homework as I can done in that 2-hour period between school and sports. But it's definitely been hard and difficult, especially for track with all the snow. We were shut down, not even for COVID, but just because of the snow. So I did lose some practice days just from that. But I mean, I knew going into this that it wouldn't be normal. And I knew that volleyball had this weird season kind of in between each. And so I was expecting some overlap. It's just kind of crazy that now we have to shove about 15 games in a matter of 2 weeks. It's going to be very difficult and very tiring. But my school has been great by scheduling track practices early and then volleyball kind of later. And the athletic departments have been very I guess just kind and sympathetic for my situation. And so they've helped me work around that so I could actually do both.
Yeah. And that's great that everybody's kind of still getting to do as much as they can. And again, still following guidelines and all the proper protocols and everything like that. One thing that has been more difficult, I think, with indoor sports is, how are we going to get together tournaments? Winter, the only county tournaments there were no state tournaments. The only county tournaments we saw, they managed to get them done in Bergen County bowling. I do not believe there are any county volleyball tournaments, but the state has said there may be sectional play at the end of the season if all continues going according to plan. Turn to Coach Phillips for this. What do you expect as far as what might come down the pike with sectional tournaments? And is that the type of thing you think we may be actually even be able to play to completion?
I'm hoping we can. You never know with everything. Like you said, I mean, I just know going from basketball, we would be ready to play a game, be shut down, play another game, shut down. So hopefully we can have a tournament. I think it'll be nice for the kids to kind of have that competition to aim for something. Obviously, winning championships this year is not the focus or the most important thing for anybody. But it would still be nice to have something along those lines just for the kids to play for. I mean, we just want to enjoy every single day we get. I try to tell the girls that. I say enjoy it every single day you're on the court because you don't know when it's your last day that you're going to be able to play. We kind of want to just enjoy everything we're getting because, like we said, we were supposed to play today. We got shut down. Tomorrow, who knows? Hopefully we play, but you never know what comes down the pipe, and you just want to take it every day and enjoy what you have because you don't know when the season's going to be taken away, unfortunately.
And that's, the reality of COVID sports or just, COVID times in general as we live in right now. But I would be interested to see that if Lakeland can make a push to say the sectional girls playoffs, and all of a sudden, boys volleyball is right around the corner. Would you, there's limitations on who can be in the gym, but would you be having practices concurrently, or, maybe encourage the boys and girls to work a little more together? How would that go if Lakeland was to, say, advance to a postseason tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I've already kind of looked ahead as far as creating my schedule. We're going to start boys. We're not allowed to do it. Well, we're allowed to do it April 1st. We're not going to start till the 5th, though, just to kind of give a little time. But I've already worked out, I have a practice from 1 to 3, and then I have a girls game at 4, so I'll be hopping on the bus right afterwards. I already have a scrimmage scheduled for the boys, and if we're in the state playoffs, I have a game that day with the girls, so we'll have to figure stuff out and move it around. But obviously, the end of girls season would take priority over the start of boys season. But we would maneuver it and make it work. If I have to be there till midnight, then so be it. It's about giving the kids the opportunity to play and enjoy their senior years, especially, and other kids to enjoy it. I really think it helps them overall, with their spirit, their the mental health, everything. It's just something nice for them to be a part of.
Again, you're watching Varsity Aces Live. Greg Tartaglia here, along with members of the Lakeland girls volleyball team. We're talking to Coach Brian Phillips, and we're talking to senior Katie Bennorth. And Katie, I think we're going to kind of wrap things up with you, because one thing that we've seen, not only has it affected high school sports in North Jersey and beyond, the effect on college sports has sort of become an interesting kind of fall of dominoes, because, some athletes in some sports have been granted an extra year, and that obviously creates a backlog of players going into college. For you, are you looking to play any sports in college, and what has maybe the recruiting process been like in these COVID times?
Okay, yes. So I'm definitely looking at the moment to play club in college. I was going through the recruiting process for both volleyball and track for a while, and I did get some offers from different schools. I think the reason why I say club is because my number one school, I wasn't considering like a lot until about 4 months ago, and at that point it was really late in the recruiting process, and I had a friend who I used to play club with, and she plays club at the school, and she says it's very competitive. And so that's why I was thinking that route for that school, because I would like to double major, and playing D1 and double majoring is very hard to manage. But of course my academics come first, and I want to pursue a double major. So that's why I was thinking club mainly. And I would say my recruiting process has definitely been weird. I would say it's probably going to be the same thing for the juniors right now. But the NCAA and different tournaments had said, number one, you can't even have tournaments, but also no coaches would be allowed to come. There would be no recruiting on campus, or even off campus for that matter. And so I could talk to coaches, but in terms of getting video, that was very, very hard to do. And I couldn't go to campuses. I couldn't spend nights with teams, because I know that's a huge thing. You come and spend a night with a team, you go to their practices.
Right.
I couldn't do any of that. And it was very difficult for coaches to kind of get updates on us. They were trusting the process and just trusting that we were getting our hands on a volleyball. But I would say that even translates just into my class in general with college searches. College campuses have been closed. So a lot of my classmates have not been able to see the colleges that they want to go to, and we're all kind of just relying on word of mouth and just brochures online and in person. And so I feel for my entire class. I would say we're in a worse position than the senior class last year because of that reason of we don't really have a full idea of where we want to go for the next 4 years. So I would say, yes, it's definitely impacted my recruiting experience, but also just my normal, typical college deciding process. I'm right in the middle of that right now, and it's certainly hard to decide without having been to these campuses and really gotten a feel for the community.
Well, I found it a little tiny bit ironic that you mentioned you haven't been able to get much video together. We're certainly glad to have you on Varsity Aces Live tonight. My understanding is you were also named a Scholar Athlete of the Week for another media outlet that I think is going to be showing tonight. And on top of all that, it's your birthday too. So happy birthday. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, that actually just aired. I wasn't able to watch it because I was driving home from practice. But
hopefully someone recorded it.
Yeah, I think I can view it online later, so I'm going to keep an eye out for that. But thank you for having me tonight.
You're welcome. And a good reminder that you can always view Varsity Aces live again online. Coach Phillips, same thing. Thank you so much for joining us. Good luck to Lakeland tomorrow. Hope you can get the season going, and hopefully we can see some volleyball in Passaic County down the road.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And we mentioned Passaic County because we're trying to get both of the major counties that we cover here on NorthJersey.com. We're going to turn our attention to Bergen now. Some of the best volleyball in the state has long come from Bergen County. Tenafly, one of the best programs. In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Susie Buchnajzer, didn't Coach Jeff Kohler win a milestone last year? I want to see he got the 400 or a big number like that.
Yes, it was his 400th win.
And an excellent season last year, and you were ranked in our top 20 going in this year. And I should mention that it's still up on NorthJersey.com. For one more day, you can vote for our Volleyball Player of the Week. Just so happens Zuzanna is one of the nominees, and she was nominated by her coach because you had an outstanding opening week, and I'm certain you're grateful to be playing volleyball and the fact that Tenafly's got in all of its matches so far. But you had a very interesting sort of journey to get to Tenafly. You're originally from Poland. How did you end up going from there and playing volleyball for the Tigers?
Well, I started playing when I was 12 at Poland in the club. And I moved here to America summer of 2018. I was 14. Mm-hmm. And I played in the club called NYC Juniors in Manhattan. I lived there for a year. Right. And then my parents I played with my sister as well. And we had to move to Tenafly because the school, public school system in Manhattan is much weaker than the New Jersey one. And in New Jersey, in Tenafly, the school is academically known for being very good. And that's why we moved here. And very luckily, the team was very good. The club, the coach, Color is amazing. And this is just lucky that I end up in the team, school team that was very competitive. And I had an opportunity to show what I can do and play with all the teammates, amazing teammates. Well,
you say lucky, but I'm sure skill is involved as well. You were an all-county selection last year. And again, like I said, off to a good start this year, averaging about 12 or 14 kills a game. Playing outside hitter, is that something that you also play in club? We were seeing the video there. You also, playing at the net is something everybody likes to do, but can you play some defense too, like you do there in the back row?
Yes, definitely. I love to do everything on the court. I began playing volleyball and I was prepared to be a setter. Later, I end up as a middle. Right now, I'm an outside hitter. In club, I am moved from right side to outside. I really am up to do anything. I just love volleyball so much. It's not like I just want to hit. I really love to dive, and I really could be libero. I'm not saying that I have ability to be a setter or libero. It's just so much fun for me to play, and definitely I couldn't be the player, for example, setter, because I haven't practiced that much. But I definitely love to do everything on the court.
Well, one thing that I found interesting, actually, it was talking to one of Coach Phillips' former players, Petko Lajusic, as a fellow who was a player of the Air Force in boys volleyball. He grew up in one of the former Yugoslav republics. I don't remember which one, and I don't want to get those wrong. But he mentioned that volleyball was kind of big in Europe, and especially in Eastern Europe. Did you find that too? Is it still kind of a big thing there for men and for women?
Oh, yes, definitely. I remember when we were moving with my parents and my sister to America, it has been a world championships, they end up being for men. Polish national team and American national team had been playing, and they won. Poland won. I'm not sure how many times they won World Championships, but I'm pretty sure it's been a couple, like around 4, and it's very very great. And volleyball is very known in Poland, and I'm not sure if that's why I started, but I'm sure it's very motivating for me to be a volleyball player and Polish at the same time when Poland is doing so well at this sport that I love so much. And it's amazing to really support the team and when it's playing, for example, in World Championships. It's a pretty big deal.
Well, I'm certain the Tigers are happy to have you too. And, it just so happens that you came to school in Tenafly, and it just so happens that Tenafly plays probably in one of the toughest girls volleyball counties, because, you've got a powerful team like Immaculate Heart Academy that wins the Tournament of Champions, or has for a number of years. You're in a league, with Demarest and Ultapan and all these teams that are the best public schools in the state. I think you've already had a match with Demarest. How is the competition in Bergen County shaping up this year? Because we don't have a county tournament to kind of for everybody to get a chance to see the teams play each other. You've already played some of the best in Bergen County this year. How do you think volleyball is shaping up around North Jersey?
Well, I'm definitely surprised how high school volleyball is in America, and definitely Bergen County. We have very good teams to compete with, and it's always great to play with the team that is equally good as Tenafly. And it's very important to for the Tenafly to really fight every single game, even though we're so equal. The teams are very, very equal, and it's very hard to judge because one time the team wins and the other time we win, and it's very hard to really differentiate the high level of the teams. But we have a lot of competitive teams in Bergen County for sure.
Well, you'll notice, I'm sure people have seen the North Jersey Top 20 came out yesterday. The volleyball Top 20, Tenafly's ranked in there. You've already played, I want to say 3 or maybe 4 teams that are also ranked. Pascack Valley is a good program that maybe didn't have a winning record last year, but like you said, it's so competitive. Sometimes you may not have a great record, but you could still have a good team. I do want to ask you a little bit about the future too, because obviously you're playing in their same conditions that Katie was just talking about, Katie Bennorth from Lakeland. Is volleyball something you might want to do in college, or can you tell me how the college search has been going, just with all this stuff going on with the pandemic?
Well, as she said, it definitely was a big challenge and many tears and maybe some hope. I am committed to D2 Quincy University, okay, and I'm very excited to join the team. As good as in the conference, they're playing very high. I'm very excited to play next year. The recruiting season, I remember since I've been a sophomore in America, and sorry, I've been a sophomore in high school. Mm-hmm. I knew I wanted to play college. I always knew I really want to continue playing volleyball because there's no reason for me to stop. And definitely I was dreaming of playing D1. However, this year, and I'm not sure how many, maybe next year as well, the seniors from D1 and D2 may stay to finish their master's degree, for example, in particular college, and they still can play next year. So that meant that my year, 2021, graduate from high school, would be little in the second line, and was definitely easier for coaches to decide that they want to keep their seniors than bring some new young girl that they couldn't even see because all the tournaments were canceled, right. And the coaches couldn't even visit. They couldn't see anything because it wouldn't be fair for other players, not even for coming for the practice with all caution for health and everything. It was just video, and the coach, Mark Jones from Christian University, just saw one of my videos, and it's just so bad for my whole year. It was very hard to even contact any club, any coach, and any university. Very hard.
But you've made it to this point. Congratulations on knowing your college decision. And honestly, congratulations on having a good season so far with Tenafly. Best of luck going forward, and happy to have you here in North Jersey. We always we're very proud of our state and especially our area. So we're glad you've become a part of it. Thank you, Zuzanna Buchnajzer, for joining us here on Varsity Aces Live tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. Our friends call her Susie. I guess we could too. So Susie Buchnajzer from Tenafly was our most recent guest. We started off the show with, of course, our guest from Lakeland, thanks to Coach Brian Phillips and to senior Katie Bennorth. Man, we packed a lot of volleyball into a small amount of time, but guess what? That's what they're doing this season, because volleyball's sort of been shoehorned in here into season 3. We will be back with another Varsity Aces Live episode next week. Figure out the topic, something for you before then. I will pass the baton to the other Greg. Greg Matura will be your host next week. I'm Greg Tartaglia. Thank you so much for joining us this week for Varsity Aces Live. Remember to keep checking out NorthJersey.com for stories on these players and more. We have our weekly volleyball poll, and of course, we'll have coverage for you right through the end of the school year. Again, thanks for joining us for our volleyball episode, Varsity Aces Live. I'm Greg Tartaglia for NorthJersey.com. Have a good night.